Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way, fighting forever against overwhelming odds, fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms, idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind, head out to Chult or Shadowfell. Hey, hey, together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss. Hey, hey, bad guys to slay, fighting forever against overwhelming odds, fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms, idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions, idle champions, idle champions, idle champions.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I was right there on the button this time. Welcome back. It's another Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. I'm Gaarawarr. You haven't figured it out? I make guides for that. With me today in the mod booth is Jay. Jay's here. Jay's going to be grabbing questions out of chat and keeping an eye on things. Updating the code as it just got updated right now. Yeah, if you have questions at any point during this, go ahead and put question : like it says in the white box down there, bottom of the screen, in front of your question, and that way it gets picked up and put into a little document over here that I'm looking at right now. Because this show isn't just a Q&A show. This show is me talking on a topic for about the first half of the show ish. And then answering questions in the second half. So I don't want you to forget your questions. They may very well be relevant, even if I answer them during the thing. When they pop in your head, throw them into chat. Just with the question : in front. And then because, chances are if you're wondering, if you have a question, if you're like, I don't understand this, there's probably a lot more people who have the same question, but who won't type it into chat. So be the brave one, type it into chat, and we will answer them for you. We do have a lot of new players lately, so hey, look, don't feel like, well, I'm asking a really noob question. No, drop it into chat. I write guides for new players, so you're in the right place. You're in the right place. This week, our topic is Grand Revel. It's a new month, so it's a new event. Events happen every month here in Idle Champion. There's one a month. They start on the first Wednesday of every month. So it just began a couple days ago, and we're going to cover the Grand Revel 2025, Part 1. It's Part 1 because there's a lot going on. There's like 10 Flex champions this event, and 2 featured champions, so a total of 12 champions. So I'm splitting it up more evenly. I got 6 to cover this week. I got 6 to cover next week. It still feels like a lot. Still feels like a lot. Who decided they were going to do this? This is a bad idea. No, I'm kidding. It's great. So we're going to cover the brand new champion, Calyx, the Exile. And then we're going to cover a bunch of the Flex champions. Let's see. I grabbed Karlach, Presto, Fen, Human, and Birdsong for this week. So some heavy hitters, or at least popular choices for you this week. That's what we're going to go over. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about how events work. Because again, we do have a lot of new players coming in. So normally you're looking at the campaign map, and there's these, generic campaigns over here. Not generic, but our normal campaigns. But when an event happens, the event pops all the way up the top. That's the game's way of telling you this is what you need to be working on, because events are the primary delivery system of champions in this game. And champions are a big source of your power for progression, your options. They're the puzzle pieces that you build you put the puzzle together with and solve it. Yeah, right? Like we need those. So this event is Grand Revel. You can click, if we click here, you'll see there's an adventure node, and there'll be a little bubble and things that you can get in it. I've done most of the things for Calyx. That's all I've unlocked so far. But if we click up here in the little Grand Revel icon, you can see more of the event UI. You can see you can collect something called Fire Mints. These are event tokens. Every event has their own name for their token. We spend these mints in the shop on chests for champions that we unlock during the event. Right now, the only chests I can buy are for Calyx. That's all I've unlocked. You can see there's... they don't have it here. Top right over here, there's Favor. You have to earn Favor in an event. It starts at 0 every event. You earn a bunch of Favor. The Favor is what helps you complete, at least tier 1, but also is going to give you the gold you need to complete the other tiers. There's no blessings in events, so it's just pure gold find that you're generating here to help you progress. You'll get this from doing free, like the base adventures for each of the champions. You can run them deep to get Favor. You can do free plays for Favor. Favor is kind of what you want to build first, because Favor is what dictates difficulty rating. And difficulty rating, to be clear, only matters for tier 1. Because it's just using Favor as a measure, as a measuring stick, it really only matters for tier 1. So make sure that if you're doing tier 1 stuff, if you're new, make sure these all show as difficulty easy, the green color, by just doing free plays and pushing deep for Favor. You're going to need a 5.00 E08 Favor to make all 3 show as green. 5.00 E08. That's scientific notation. We use that in this house. Press Y on your keyboard if you haven't yet to turn scientific notation on, or go into the settings to turn it on. It just makes it easier to talk about numbers and power numbers instead of having to remember what's 537 XD. Like, I don't know. I'm just making something up, but you get the idea. Like, nobody needs to memorize that stuff. Just throw this down, and these numbers, when we talk about the number after the E, it makes everything easier to compare your progress. So yeah, you want to grab Favor. Again, we use the Favor to help us move forward. That's going to give you more gold. That's going to give you more power. But for the higher tiers, because there's 4 tiers of every event, so there's variants you do, and then there's difficulty levels. The further in you go, as you see here, these stars, the deeper you go, the higher the ratings. So you start off with like area 75 completion. Tier 2 is going to have a higher area goal. Tier 3, higher area goal. Tier 4, super high area goal. And even the variants get harder, right, as you go down. So Tier 4, Variant 3, the furthest you have to go is like area 1600. This isn't for new players. New players, brand new players, Tier 1 is your jam. And towards the end of the event, because it lasts for 3 weeks, you might actually be able to do a couple things, maybe even all of Tier 2. It depends. Totally possible. Okay. But normally Tier 2 is like early game, people who have a few events under their belt. Tier 3 is usually getting close into the early and the mid game. Tier 4 is mid to late game and beyond. That's kind of, this is a way of measuring your long-term progress in power gain in the game. Now, when I say these terms, I'm referring to the power of your account, and there's ways to boost your power. Obviously, you can buy platinum and spend platinum on things that are going to get you more power. It's pay to progress faster. If you want to support the game financially, you can, but you can earn all of this power just by playing the game. Or spending minimally, totally fine. You can still do everything eventually, right? Events can have boons and augments up here. We're going to talk about augments first. This month's augments, we have boon enhancements. So there's an extra gem boon that drops we'll talk about. We have auto equip and auto blacksmith. These are fantastic. What a great time to start if you're new. Auto equip automatically gives you common rarity equipment when you unlock one of these event champions, which is those are the white cards. That's great. That saves you some chests, right? Like normally you open a silver chest or an electrum chest, you get like one item card out of it. Well, there's 6 chests saved right there. You get 6 white cards. Auto blacksmith means if you are able to complete tier 2 and beyond, so not tier 1, but tier 2 and beyond, every variant is going to reward you with 100 item levels for that champion. Heck yeah. That's like 100 small blacksmithing or the tiny blacksmithing contracts. That's fantastic. 50 smalls. Like, come on. Free item levels. Item levels are power. Normally you're opening up lots of chests to get that kind of item level. So it's just free power and it's fantastic. I love it even as a late game player. But it's fantastic for new players because this means if you can at least complete tier 2, you're going to have a champion that's got some beefiness to them, right? Worth the wait is basically something. It's just extra champions or double chests, excuse me, for Ishii, who comes out next week. That's what this little lock is. Coming soon, unlocks in 4 days. Ishii is a year 1 champion who's been reworked. We're in year 8 events now. She's being reworked to be more, hopefully, more Mo-beta for the current meta. Mo-beta for the current meta. That's how we're gonna do it. All right. So she'll unlock next week, and her variants award double chests. In the meantime, we have these things called flex slots. All 4 of these down here are flex slots. You'll see they're on 2 of them are on timers. One's available right away. The first one right away, the cost is free. So you can pick one of any of these 10 champions over here from the past for free. Again, this is a fantastic way that they're delivering champions now. It didn't used to work like this. This is great. And it's your choice. It's your choice. Another one's going to unlock next week, and another one the week after that. Now, these other 2, they're going to cost you 3 time gate pieces. So if you are newer and you're not earning a lot of time gate pieces, hold on to them. In fact, there's a meta event going on right now, the Spring Celebration. It's been awarding some time gate pieces. Hold on to them. You want to spend them. Early on, when you're not getting a lot of them, you want to spend your time gate pieces in the events. Later on, when you get to the point where you're earning like 3 a week easily from a variety of ways in the game, then you can just spend them as you get them because you'll always have 3 for events. But early on, hold on to them. All right. So you'll have the ability to flex up to 3 champions effectively for free, which means 5 champions in an event. A lot. It's a lot. Events used to only give us 3 champions, and you didn't have any choice about the other 2. Like you always had a new one, and then there were 2 others, and it was so this is great. This final one, this flex slot unlocks a supporter slot now by purchasing DLC containing an event boon. So this is for people who are supporting the game with cash. Anything over here, like it says +1 event boon. If it calls out that it has an event boon, that's what you're looking for. In the shop, if you're in the shop and you're looking in the shop, the event boon looks like a little D20 with these rays like this right here. It looks like this. So anything with one of these symbols, it calls out 1 event boon, has this picture. That's going to get you the event boon, okay? And event boons, now we can talk about that over here. Event boons, when you get an event boon, you can have up to 4 of them stacked. So for each DLC you buy, you can have up to 4 boons. And it's basically a power stack of potions that's always on, or, well, you can turn them on or off. But, most people have them on, especially if you're newer. So damage of all champions, gold, find health, bud, this is click damage, fire breath potions. Speed potions, and then the augment was gem increases. Gems are fantastic. We love gems in this house. They're truly, truly outrageous. So the more you get of the boons, this is a kind of a bonus for supporting the game financially. You get event boons. Now there's rewards for everything. So for every variant that you complete, you get a gold calyx. You'll get a gold chest for the champion. Calyx chest. For every tier you complete, you earn a buff that lasts, for 60 days from the start of the event. So at the top, they don't label these, but the top is tier 1, and then bigger, the buffs as you go down through tier 4. And then some champions, usually just the featured champions, but also some flex champions have been featured and thus have these, are permanent rewards. These are the only place you can get whatever this reward is. Like if it's a feat, this is it. So Calyx comes with 2 feats that are available. This is completing tiers 3 and 4. You have to get super big progress. Okay. Again, for Flex Champions, you can track your progress. Because of the way events used to be, there used to just be 1 tier of stuff. So I have white stars for everybody. I've done Cthulhu in a past event, so I flexed him somewhere else, so he's completed. But this is where you see your progress, and as you can see, there's no 3rd level of reward. So none of these have been featured champions yet in the new system. So you just gotta pick. You gotta pick and choose who you're gonna go for, right? All right, let's dive in. Oh no, I want to talk about real quick. I want to talk about how this works. I gotta get to the champions, but there's stuff to talk about. So when we come over here, the first thing that you're going to have is just this adventure. It's going to be an unlock adventure for the champion. You only have to hit area 50. It's doable by even a brand new player fresh out of the box. And that's how you unlock Calyx. It's that easy. You just got to complete area 50. Now there is a unique formation layout for every champion. Calyx is not great for new players. It's fine. Established players with a lot of champions can make this work, but new players, this is rough. I have a guide for this. You can hit up my Calyx guide over on the subreddit. There is a new player formation. Like if you're brand new, there's a new player formation, but it's not great. It's gonna be rough. So this is not necessarily like you want to flex another champion that has a better layout for pushing for favor, because this one is not going to be great. Once you complete the unlock mission, you get the 3 variants show up. And the variants have restrictions. You can see the higher tiers goals for this, because there's a thing that's part of events now called multi-tier, which basically I could start this, which is what I did. I started it. I had never done any of them, and I just went all the way to 1200 in one run, and it completed all 4 tiers of it for me. It doesn't show up that it's completed in the UI, but I got 4 gold chests. I got the rewards as if I did it, right? Because I did. And then I did that for the 2nd tier too. I just haven't gone through and done the 3rd one yet. But these are going to have restrictions. The restrictions are what make things hard. This is why you want to do, like, if you're going to push deep for favor, you do it in a free play, because in variants, things get harder. So the restriction for the Hunter from Shar is Calyx starts in the formation. He can be moved, but not removed. They want to teach you, with the newer champions, they want to teach you how to use the champion. Only Calyx and champions not adjacent to him can deal damage. This is related to Calyx's main buff that we're going to talk about. So it's just a placement thing. This isn't really a restriction. This is pretty straightforward. And then they say 1 to 2 Drow Rangers spawn with each wave. They don't drop gold in their count towards quest progress. Easy peasy. This is basically a non-restriction. Okay. Just make sure Calyx isn't next to your damage dealer, and you're fine. Secondary sources. Calyx starts in the formation. He can be moved but not removed, so same things. You may only use core champions, the starting 12, and or champions that are not a standard species. And then it lists off what that means. This is a lot more restrictive, potentially. But hey, at least if you're brand new, you're guaranteed the core champions. So, not that bad. As you're trying to push further and further, well, it's going to take more work, right? Like you're going to have some solid champions that are non-standard species. And this, again, is related to one of Calyx's abilities, and we'll go over that. So getting a little more difficult as we go down. 3rd one, front and center. Calyx starts in the formation. He can't be moved or removed. When they say can't be moved, they place a C down here in the formation layout. This is where Calyx goes. They're going to be in the front line. Okay? You just have to deal with them there. Only Calyx and champions from the most represented species in the formation may deal damage. Now, I don't know why they included Calyx in this, because Calyx is a support. But whatever. But beyond this, you're going to have to build your formation around like one species being the highest number. Whoever your primary DPS is, you've got to match that species. This can be restrictive for a new player. Absolutely can be. So again, can be harder. People with a more developed bench, they're going to be fine. 1 to 2 ranged astral elf warriors spawn with each wave and attack twice as fast as normal enemies. They don't drop gold in their count towards quest progress. This is all about some of Calyx's abilities. and we'll go over those. Okay, so as you can see, things can be difficult. It doesn't always ramp up per like 1, 2, 3. Sometimes the hard one can be the first one. It just depends. You just got to read the restriction. Okay. All right, we're going to hop into Calyx Free Play, and we're going to talk about the champions. Get out of there. Get out of there. I don't want you there. All right. So there's some familiars out here. Press F to place familiars. Calyx is in seat 5. Seat 5. Let's get the bug on the board. There we go. There's Calyx. We're going to put him right there. Right now, I was talking about that meta event. It's the Elegant Spring Celebration. Click up here on this box. Each day, log in each day, claim your reward. It's not actually a chest. Everybody gets the exact same reward. So here you go. See, time gate piece, scrolls, contracts, giant strength potion. Yay. Okay, do it every day, 4 days in a row, and you'll unlock Minthara and a skin for Minthara. If you don't have a Minthara yet, here's a free Minthara. Otherwise, you're going to get a skin and a feat. This icon here tells me that's probably a taunt feat. That's usually the icon for taunt. All right, so let's talk about Calyx first. Calyx is our first ever Thri-Kreen, or as Justin likes to call them, the developer of Idle Champions, a Thri-Kreen. I think it's a Thri-Kreen. I think if we had 3 of them, if it was 3 Thri-Kreens in a trench coat, I think we would call him a Thri-Kreen. Male Thri-Kreen Ranger, lawful evil, full support, no affiliation whatsoever. Okay, so base attack is ranged, so is their ultimate. Chotkacha. Sure. Calyx throws a Chotkacha at the closest enemy, dealing 1 hit. Thanks, Mars. Mars came up with a lot of stuff. This is, it's like a throwing star. And then Githka Strike. Githka Strike, Calyx makes 5 attacks against random enemies, dealing ultimate damage and stunning them for 5 seconds, 2 days. Paralyzing poison. If there had been 5 enemies out, they would have kept going. They would have kept going. All right, here we go. They have a passive ability. That's what a level 0 ability is. So it's kind of just functions just no matter what. While Calyx is in the front column of any party. If you're new, you're wondering, what? There's background parties that you can unlock as you play the game. So when Calyx is in the front column of any party, your active party's damage is increased by an amount. What's your active party? The one you're looking at. The one you're looking at. Okay? Not all parties. Just the one you're looking at. So if Calyx were in a background party in the front column, this party would have more damage. We've never had an ability like this, ever. Okay? So we're all getting used to this. This means this ability affects your active party, even if Calyx is not in your active party. Yeah, I just said that. As long as they're in the frontmost column of their party. I went over that. Now, here's the thing. You can tell if this is functional by putting them in the front column. Okay. By putting them in the front column. And boom, you get this kind of semi-transparent version of Calyx up here at the top left. I find it barely noticeable, but some people have issues with it. And if I were to switch to another party, as I'm going to do here, it will show up over here too. So it's going to show up in your active party. See, there's Calyx. This means Calyx is buffing this party because it's now my active party. Even though they're in that other party. Okay. Currently, it doesn't show up under like incoming buffs. Like if I come over here, there's no. It doesn't list right now. I think it's because it's an all champions damage thing, so it's just not there. But if you see the ghost, should be fine, right? So remember, folks, if you have questions, put question : in front of your question, or else it doesn't go in the document. I got no questions in the document. That's why I say that. So Thri-Kreen Telepathy is our first passive buff that can work in other parties. Wild. We have other features that work in other parties. We'll talk about that a little later. Next up is Mind Link. Calyx telepathically increases the damage of all champions not adjacent to him. This is why I said this is why they have that variant. But don't place your primary DPS next to Calyx. That's basically the rule. Okay. We have this on a bunch of other champions. So this is not new. Unorthodox Alliance. This is the biggie. Calyx gains an ally stack for each champion in the formation that is not a standard species. And it lists off what standard species are. If you're wondering where they got this idea of standard species, everything except half orc and half elf from this list are in the 2024 Player's Handbook. So these are the 2024 D&D Player's Handbook species. Except for half orc and half elf, they added those two. All right. So standard species. He increases the effect of Mind Link by an amount for each ally stack. Uh-oh. We're talking about stacks. Or these are the good abilities. And stacking multiplicatively. So this is a stacking ability that stacks multiplicatively. That's the good way. Now, because we can see that this number has been modified. It doesn't just say 100% somewhere like, oh, well, all these. But it doesn't just say like 100% for each one. This means that things like items affect it, right? And things like feats affect it. And it affects the pre-stack value, which makes it the OP way. So anytime you have a multiplicatively stacking ability with items and feats that buff, or abilities, whatever, that buff the pre-stack modifier, that's the OP way. We like those. Well, a mathematically overpowered ability, some people just refer to it as pre-stack. But what does pre-stack mean, right? At least mathematically overpowered tells you that this is strong. Now, not all mathematically OP abilities same. They can scale differently. They can get different numbers of stacks, right? And they usually require you to have a lot of item levels, right? You've got to feed into that pre-stack value. High rarities and higher item levels make this just better and better and better. But this type of ability, as you continue putting item levels into it, it just continues getting better. Whereas a lot of other abilities, after the first 100 item levels you put in something, diminishing returns system kicks in, and to get another good solid boost, you got to get all the way to 1,000 and then 10,000. It's ridiculous. Whereas this just keeps scaling. Okay. So this is Unorthodox Alliance. That's the big one. So that's the one you really want to build around if you're building a formation with Calyx. Chameleon Carapace. Enemies that attempt to choose Calyx as a target do not. This is how you can put a support champion in the front line where the tanks go. They instead will choose to attack another champion as long as another target exists. Now, right now, I don't have another target. So if enemies got up here, they'd just punch Calyx in the face. But if I have a tank right over here, like, let me just throw a sentry. If sentry's right here, these enemies will walk up to Calyx and go, oh, I don't want to hit you. And they'll move over to his sentry, and then they'll hit sentry. And until sentry dies, they'll never touch Calyx. Okay, we call this like an anti-tank or a nega-tank. Because basically they exist up here, but they just Jedi mind trick enemies into going over here. Okay. Which can be strong. Early on, it can be rough if you don't have tanks that can tank everything, but later on, the real nice effect. Now, every time this happens, the effect of Mind Link is increased by 100%. It's stacking multiplicatively up to 25 times, but resets when you change areas. So this is an in-area ramping effect. So the more times they do this, up to 25 times, it's going to stack multiplicatively. Remember, that's a good way. So that makes Chameleon Carapace a really solid ability. But only once you get to the point where you're actually having to hand off enemies. Early on here, well, if we were handing them off, it would be kicking in. But as you go further, it's going to get better, right? Because you're going to see that handoff more often. The deadliest prey. Humanoids are Calyx's favored foe. That's a typo. All champions deal 400% additional damage against Calyx's favored foes. Now, why did it say against Calyx's favorite foes instead of against humanoids? Humanoids are their favorite foe. Calyx has feats that can add more favored foes. So it starts off with humanoids, and you can add more. This is great. This works well with other champions that trigger things off favored foes. There's a number of them in the game. Okay. Spec choices time. I need to kill things. There we go. That's better. Strength in numbers, creative camouflage, or one for you, one for me. All right, strength in numbers, the most represented species in your formation grant additional ally stacks for unorthodox alliance. Now, it says even if it is not a standard species, it can be any species. Any species. Most represented one grants additional ally stacks. This means even if they're already granting ally stacks, they're going to grant more. So let's say you have 3, I did this the other day. So let's say you have 3 kobolds who are already granting stacks. I've already got 10. Like, let's say everybody's non-standard. So I've got 10 stacks, 3 kobolds. That's the most represented species. I would have a total of 13 stacks, right? So they can make that multiplicatively stacking ability get more stacks. That's strong. That's really strong in this game. Whenever you can give a multiplicatively stacking ability more stacks, you kind of want to build around that. So in an ideal situation, you're trying to build around that. In the case of a tie, champions from all tied species grant an additional allied stack. We've seen this kind of mechanic before on Will, where you want to kind of tie certain things, and if you do, then everybody gets the benefit. So you could have 3 kobolds, and you could have 3 humans, and you could have 3 half-elves. Well, that doesn't really work for getting lots of stacks. But let's say you have 3 on all non-standard species, right? Suddenly you've got 19 stacks. And that's way better than 10, right? So this can be really big in the right situation. In the right situation. Creative camouflage. The maximum stacks of chameleon carapace are doubled, and 50% of the current stacks are not reset when you change areas. So this doubles another multiplicatively stacking ability, the one that gets big as you hand off enemies, which is more towards your wall. And it keeps some of that power every time you reset. Every time you change areas. Because normally that's an in-area ramp and they all go away. So this just makes you it lets you keep power, carry power forward, and gives you a lot more power. It's a big deal. Doubling, it went for going from 25 to 50 stacks multiplicatively. It's a big deal. I want to say it starts off without gear at like an EO8% buff at 25 stacks, and at 50 it's up to E17. It's a big deal. It's without any gear at all. One for you, one for, so this is big. Even if you can't build out extra stuff over here in a way that makes sense, this is pretty solid. So one for you, one for me. Helix gains the speed roll. Okay. And each time a monster spawns that is not his favored foe, and remember, you can add things to make them favored foes. One or more favored foes simultaneously spawn. So instant extra enemies. Not a chance to do it. Every time something that isn't a favored foe spawns, a favored foe spawns with it. This is like Minsk or Dynahair boosted, like way better, because it's a guarantee. The effect of Deadliest Prey is also increased by 400%. Sure, I'm gonna take that just for fun. But you'll see now this says support and speed, so it does change the roles. All right. So depending on what you're trying to do, are you trying to use Calyx as a speed champion? Take that right-hand spec. If you're trying to push, then depending on how you can build your formation, you'll take either the left or the middle. Okay. That's everything from the abilities. Item-wise, we get a damage of all champions, because they're a support. We get Thrycreen Telepathy. They give you an item for that passive. Wild. Mind Link, Unorthodox Alliance. This is the big one. This is the one you want to guild. Chameleon Carapace, which applies post-stack, unfortunately. And then Ultimate Cooldown Reduction. Feat-wise, we get Damage All Champions. You get some favored foes, different favored foes you can add in. We get Mind Link. We get Chameleon Carapace. We get the Deadliest Prey. See, here's more of the constructs and oozes. There's Thrycreen Telepathy that currently is for cash, and in like 3 months you can get it for gems. And then there's a Charisma score. Again, this is the one from doing the event. Charisma +2 will qualify Calyx for Zerial. Otherwise, Calyx qualifies for all the patrons. So that's Calyx. And now I've got to cover 5 other champions in like 25 minutes. Yeah, right. Let's do this. Okay, let's try to bring out everybody else now. Carlock. Bay's on the board. Presto, Changeo. Who else was I getting out? Oh, yeah, Finn. Here we go. Let's get Finn out here. Human. Definitely not a kobold in a trench coat. Definitely a human. 3 kobolds in a trench coat, excuse me. And a bird song. Okay. Now people complain that I use skins, and it's like, come on. Why? Who wouldn't want Chibi Birdsong out? Come on, people. Here, let's do it like this. Let's spread some people out. This is Human. Human normally looks like a human in a trench coat. Definitely not 3 kobolds in a trench coat. Human might have the most skins in the game. They do. Birdsong normally doesn't look like a chibi. They look like this. Okay. Yeah, that's what you're getting. Okay, let's dive in. How do you want to do this? Presto. Just do it in bench seat order. Presto Changeo. Presto comes from the Saturday Morning Squad. That's the 80s cartoon. We don't have everybody here yet. We're still missing Sheila and Hank. But we got a bunch of them now. Male human wizard, neutral good, support and debuffer. His base attack, his attacks are magic. Shocker. Presto's hat. Presto takes his hat off, pulls out a random projectile, and throws it at the nearest enemy, dealing 1 hit. Like, they leaned into the TV show on this one. A hat full of havoc is the ultimate. Presto fires assorted objects from his hat at his enemies, debuffing them and changing the weather. Depending on what he throws, like there's a tornado. Depending on what he pulls out of the hat, it can be a different effect. It shows him here. So ultimate hat trick. We just saw the tornado. It flies out of the hat, grows in size, dealing 1 hit to all monsters and knocking them back a medium distance. And the weather changes to rain. You can see it's raining now. There's snowballs that slows them, and the weather changes to snow. There's fireworks that shoot out that stun them, and the weather changes to fog. So there's lots of different things that could come out of the hat. First ability, Hesitant Helper. Presto increases the damage of champions in the 2 columns in front of him. So you want Presto 1 or 2 columns behind your primary DPS. If they're more than that, they're not doing anything. Okay. This is a formation placement cue. Out of many spells, Presto's attack causes monsters hit by them to take more damage. It stacks multiplicatively up to 5 times. You'll note this number is not just a small number, it's a modified number. That means stacks multiplicatively up to 5. This is a this is pre-stack. This is the good kind. This is mathematically overpowered. Now it only stacks up to 5 times, so it's not going to be huge, but you take what you can get, right? In addition, a secondary effect occurs depending on the projectile. So if he throws a birthday cake, the monster's slowed. If they throw the skateboard out, the enemies are knocked back. If they throw a rotary phone out, the monster's stunned, trying to wonder, as it wonders, what the heck is a rotary phone? What? Because the monsters are millennials. It's a bad joke, folks. Look, roll with it. Humble Heroes, Junior Juggernauts, or Magical Mystery. Humble Heroes, first off, let's just say all of these specialization choice boost Hesitant Helper, and they boost it by the same amount, but it's based off stacks. So it's the number of champions that qualify for each of those. So what you're looking for, this one's real straightforward. You look for just the largest number, which currently is Humble Champions. Humble Heroes is champions with a total ability score of 78 or less. Junior Juggernauts are champions that are 20 years old or less. And Magical Mystery is champions that have magic attacks. So in this situation, if this was the full formation, we would go this because it's the biggest one. Okay. This is a specialization choice, just super easy to choose. Not all of them are that straightforward. As you saw with Calyx. Is that it? Nope, okay. I was like, no, he's got something else. Boy, they make you go get to the scavenger thing. Okay. All of the Saturday Morning Squad are scavengers. For Presto, he's a component scavenger. Presto can scavenge up to X number of Modron component pieces from boss loot sacks. While this cap is not reached, Presto has a 10% chance of scavenging one component each time a boss drops a loot sack. The cap increases by 20 every day. So as of today, the cap is 9,460. Tomorrow, it'll be 9,480. It's not from the moment you get Presto. It's from the moment Presto was released. So everybody has the same cap. Okay. So I've scavenged a bunch because I haven't used him a lot, to be honest. I need to get him in more groups. Now, these components, I want to be clear. This is not, some people are like, what are Modron components? It is not pipes. Okay. He's not picking up pipes. That would be amazing. But he's not picking up pipes. No, it's these Modron component pieces down here. I have 6,000 of them. So what do these do? These let you upgrade your pipe rarity. So it can take a white to a green. It can take a blue to a purple, right? Greens to blues. But it doesn't change. Like, it can't add like directionality or anything. It's just boosting that pipe up to whatever its higher rarity version would be. And that can come in handy later on. I don't think it's super handy early on, but earn them while you can and use them later, right? All right. Itemization, damage of all champions, hesitant helper, how many spells, specializations, ultimate attack damage. It's a how many spells that's the mop, the mathematically OP one. Feat wise, damage of all champions, hesitant helper, how many spells, those are good. Spec choices, you get a constitution +2, this will qualify them for patron Vajra. And a strength +1 that qualifies them for Zariel. Patron Zariel. Alright, next up is Karlach. As everybody knows, Karlach is Bae. Karlach is my primary DPS of choice. Look, this is just a personal choice thing. I just loved Karlach in Baldur's Gate 3, so I went all in on Karlach. You do you. You do you. Alright, Karlach joins us from the Absolute Adversaries. These are the champions from Baldur's Gate 3. There's a lot of them in there. All the origin characters plus 2 more, Minthara and Halsin. So some of the optional pickups that you can have in your party. Female Tiefling Barbarian, Chaotic Good, DPS tanking and support. Yeah. Main attack, Great Axe Cleave, attacks the closest enemies with a swing of her Great Axe. It does say enemies, so this is an AoE hit. She has a passive, Champion of Zariel. As a Champion of Zariel, Karlach can be used in any Zariel patron adventure or variant, even if she doesn't qualify. Basically, if she would be restricted out, she gets to go anyway. Because she's a Champion of Zariel. So all of Zariel's stuff is on the board for Karlach, which is great. Fury of Avernus. Karlach increases the damage of all champions, including herself, in her column and the column behind her. Okay? So she buffs her column and the column behind. So if you're using her as a support, you need to keep that in mind because you got to place her correctly. If you're using her as a DPS, you can put her wherever. I know it says tank. She does not have to be in the front column to be your DPS. If you're going to tank with her, she has to be in the front column. And then your DPS needs to be right behind her. Okay. Ceramorphosis. All of the, all of the absolute adversaries will contribute to Ceramorphosis, but not all of them have Ceramorphosis. Your formation gains 1 Ceramorphosis stack due to the Mind Flayer Tadpole in Karlach's brain. Karlach increases the health of all other champions by 20%, so the health share of her max health, plus 2% for each Ceramorphosis stack the formation has. Okay. So if you have 10 absolute average, well, you can't. But if you had 10 tadpoles, because you can get 10 tadpoles, you can actually get 12 tadpoles. Then that would be a 44% health share, which would make the party, everyone else in the party, a lot beefier than normal. Unfortunately, it doesn't change her beefiness. It doesn't make her tank better. Just kind of a, all right, rage. This is the good one. You can see she's glowing. That girl's on fire. Because she's enraged. When Karlach attacks or is attacked, she gains a rage stack. Caps at 50 stacks. Karlach increases the effect of the Fury of Avernus by 25% for each rage stack, stacking multiplicatively. Stacks are reduced by 60% when changing areas. This is a big deal. This is kind of the core of making her stuff function, is getting these stacks. And gratefully, she can do it while attacking or being attacked. So, like I said, for DPS, she can be anywhere in the formation. Yeah. Now, all of her stuff, if you're wondering, is it pre-stack? Gaarawarr, is it pre-stack? No. But it scales real well. Scales real well, which is why I use her as my primary DPS, even though she's not a pre-stacker. Even though she has no mathematically OP abilities. She's strong. Infernal Engine. This is why she's on fire, actually, but it's part of the rage. While Karlach has 20 or more rage stacks, she ignites on fire, dealing 0.1 second of Bud-based damage for each rage stack to any enemy that attacks her. Now, obviously, this is only going to work if she's either in the front column or if you're facing an enemy that has AoE attacks. Right? Then she can be anywhere. So when I'm using her for DPS, I ignore this. I mean, there's a function of this that I enjoy. We'll get there, but we ignore it. We ignore that. All right. Spec choices. You're going to choose how you're going to use her in your formation. Berserker is DPS. Wild Heart is pure tank. Wild Magic is straight up support. Okay. Berserker, this one's huge. While Karlach has 20 or more rage stacks, so when her Infernal Engine lights up, she increases her damage by 50% for each rage stack she has, stacking multiplicatively. This is what makes her just go off the chain as a DPS. Okay. You get those rage stacks, just lights up the damage. Wild Heart. While Karlach has 20 or more rage stacks, she heals 10% of her maximum health every second. Self-healing. Wild Magic. While Karlach has 20 or more rage stacks, she increases the effect of the Fury of Avernus by 100% for each stack of Ceramorphosis, stacking multiplicatively. So Wild Magic is going to be a support spec. It's its best when it's in a full absolute adversaries with tadpole supports situation. Because then you're going to get lots of stacks, right? I'm going DPS because of course I am. Of course I am, and we're going to swap these places. Presto should be buffing her. All right. Get her to cap here real quick. Okay, boom. Now, let's move forward. Soul Coin Ultimate. We'll talk about that in a second because it's huge as well. It's the best part. An Experienced Gladiator is the final ability. Karlach increases the effect of Fury of Avernus by 10% for each Zariel patron variant you have completed. So remember, she qualifies for all of Zariel's patron variants. She's going to help you complete them. The more of them you do, the bigger her buff gets, and it stacks multiplicatively. Well, how many patron variants are there, Gaarawarr? Zariel has 460 currently available. I've done 346. And it's a beefy buff. It's a pretty beefy buff. Where are we at? Experienced Gladiator. I'm getting an E18 buff to my main buff just from having completed content in the game. Thank you. All right, let's talk about that soul coin, because this is what really blows things up. Remember, rage caps, right? 50 stacks, and it's multiplicatively stacking. Soul Coin. Karlach absorbs the energy of a Soul Coin, increasing her rage cap to 100 stacks, and her Infernal Engine's Bud-based damage by 100% until completing the next boss area. So it ramps up. If I'd hit it on 16, it'd be ramping up until 20 and help us beat that boss. And then we'd need to do it again. It has a very long cooldown. So, as you get near your wall, a lot of times it's based on when am I getting the cooldown back to when I can progress? But no, that's 175 seconds. And that's maximum reduced. So 3 minutes at max reduction. It's like 10 minutes without any items. It's ridiculous. But doubling the stacks is huge, folks. There, we've lit her on fire. It's the flaming onion of doom. So her stacks now cap at 100. Now look, I already said for Calyx, going from 25 to 50 was huge. 50 to 100 is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And remember, it's not just about rage. It doubles the damage off this. So if she's tanking, she's going to wreck stuff that hits her. And for Berserker, it's 50% for each stack. That's her self-damage. Now she can get up to 100 stacks. It just destroys everything. It's absolutely ridiculous. I love it so much. Itemization, damage all champions, health, Fury of Avernus, rage, experience gladiator, and ultimate cooldown reduction. This is the one that you want to get capped out of all of that because you want that soul coin up as much as possible. Feats is damage of all champions. We got a taunt feat. This is why I said that Minthara one's going to be a taunt feat. We get health, we get self damage, you get Fury of Avernus, you get rage, you get experience gladiator, you get overwhelm. So you get everything you could ever want. Warlock. All I ever wanted. Wait, no, that's all right. Let's get back to what we're doing. Next up is Finn. Finn comes from the Black Dice Society. Black Dice Society is a complete affiliation. You can do a lot of stuff with them. It's a pretty tight knit affiliation. Female Dhampir elf. This is a drow. It's a drow. Dhampir drow. Dhampir is a kind of vampire, folks. What's the difference between a Dhampir and a red Dhampir and a regular vampire? The Dhampir's wet. There's a warlock rogue. You thought I was being serious every time. Chaotic evil DPS support. Base attack is Pact Blade. Finn darts out to the closest enemy and slashes with her longsword, hitting all nearby enemies. So it's an AoE hit. AoE hit. Mischievous but dangerous. Finn increases the damage of all champions in her column by an amount. This includes her. So if you're using her as a support, she's got to be in the same column as your DPS. Patron's Oath. This is the big one. I got to take this feat out. Patron's Oath. When Finn is in the formation, like she is now, in any party, so including background parties, patron challenge progress made by all parties is doubled. This is like Calyx. It's not a buff. It's not a damage buff. But it's a progression buff. And it's all of these challenges that you would be doing. You're going to get double credit. So you're going to complete them twice as fast. I just took a feat out. This is 100%. Let me put the feat back in. You can get a feat. It's a 500 or 50,000 gem feat. Patron's Oath. Quadruple progress. 300% means 4x progress. You can do patron stuff 4 times as fast. Yes, please. Yes, please. Did I say yes, please yet? All right. That's honestly, this is one of the Finn's biggest selling points. It's great. Warlock Pact. Finn reduces the normal attack speed of all warlocks in the formation by 0.1 seconds for each point of wisdom an adjacent champion has above 10. This is starting to get complicated. So you want to surround her in an ideal situation. You're surrounding her with lots of adjacent champions that have high wisdom. That's going to make other warlocks, including herself, attack faster. If that's a thing you want more attack speed, that's how you get it. Spec choices. Shadows of the Underdark versus Curse of the Dhampir. Shadows of the Underdark is usually the support spec, but in some situations you might use it as DPS. Curse of the Dhampir is the pure damage spec. So, Shadows of the Underdark. Finn imbues her blade with Eldritch Energy, increasing the effect of Mischievous but Dangerous by an amount, and causing her normal attacks to deal an additional 5 seconds of Bud-based damage with each hit. This is why I say you could use this if you know you have plenty of damage, but you're dealing with armored enemies and you just want to chew through them faster. You could use this as a DPS spec. Otherwise, it's a support spec, and it's fantastic because 5 seconds of Bud damage means you're going to remove chunks of armor when you hit an enemy, or do damage to an enemy when you shouldn't be because you don't have any damage because you're not the DPS, right? Curse of the Dhampir just buffs her own damage by a bunch. Okay. Those are affected by an item. That's why the number values are probably different than what you might see. All right, talk about that. Come on, click on that. There we go. Lag. I've got you, friends. Finn increases the effect of mischievous but dangerous by 100% for each champion in the formation that is either Black Dice Society, right? She's buffing her affiliation, or has wisdom of 15 or higher, and it stacks multiplicatively. So again, ideal situation, you're either running full Black Dice Society with wisdom 15 plus support, or you're running lots of wisdom 15 plus people because you want to stack this up. Stacks multiplicatively. This is just 100%. So this isn't a pre-stacker with an item or something. It does have an item, but it's post-stack. But still, even with post-stack stuff, you still want to get lots of stacks. It's just not as important as it is when it's a pre-stack. Okay. Ultimate ability. Finn transforms into her dread form. She sprouts wings, leaps into the air, and charges directly across the area, dealing 1 hit of ultimate damage to all enemies, knocking them back a short distance. Here's what it looks like. Boom. And then she's back. Item-wise, damage of Finn, damage of all champions, mischievous but dangerous, I've got you, friends, spec choices, and ultimate attack cooldown. Beats everything you'd expect. Self-damage, damage of all champions, mischievous but dangerous, I've got you, friends. There's the Patron's Oath one, that's the big one, and then spec choices. And so lots of flexibility there. Human. Definitely not 3 kobolds in a trench coat. Gender is male and female. It's because there's 3 kobolds in this trench coat. I know it's really a human, but look, there's 3 kobolds in a trench coat. 2 of them are male, 1 of them is female. So they, them pronouns. There's multiple. They count as both kobold and human, regardless of what the skin. This is a dwarven skin, but regardless of what the skin is, they count as kobold and human. Rogue Bard, Lawful Evil, Support Speed, Unaffiliated. Main attack is ranged. The middle kobold shoots a random enemy with a small crossbow. All right. There's a lot going on here. As you can see, our first ability has 3 different parts to it, 2 of which are inactive. So let me just get this out of the way up front. Human's effects change based off where they're placed in the formation. The game will tell you kind of where, like if you look at it, it'll tell you where it is, but it's front, middle, back. Now, there's lots of columns, right? So what counts as front, what counts as middle, what counts as back? This is a 6 column formation. This is about as big as it gets in this game. So it's 2, 2, 2. It makes it real easy. Okay. In a 5 column formation, it's 2, 1, 2. And in a 4 column formation, it is 1, 2, 1. That's as short as it gets. Okay. But it will tell you here, front 2 columns, middle 2 columns, back 2 columns. Okay. But each of these buffs depends on where you place them. So you want to decide what you want from them and then put them in the right place. So teamwork makes the dream work. Depending on where they are placed in the formation, different kobold takes the top slot in the trench coat and provides a different buff. Zrang. Front. Enemies have a 40% chance to drop double quest items or count for double quest progress. This is the speed effect. So if you want them to go, you want to go fast, they got to be in the front 1 or either the first or second column, depending on what's going on, right? They got to be in the front. Cleave. Increases the damage of champions against boss enemies. The boss has hits-based or armor-based health, so segmented health. Successful attacks destroy twice as many segments as they normally would, so they can become an armor-shredding support. Right? Yasa. Increases the damage of champions within 2 columns of Human. Okay, straight up buff. Against everything. It's a lower buff than against bosses, but then again, this is only against bosses, right? So depending on what you want out of them, you move them around. You can start off with speed, and then you can move them back. Totally cool, right? Hello, fellow humans. Increases the effect of Cleave and Yasa, so not the speed effect, the buffs. Based on the number of human champions in the formation. So how many other humans are in the formation? Obviously, having a full human formation is a big buff. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what you want to build. Okay? For reasons we'll get to in a minute. Carefully balanced. This is the speed effect. This increases the effect of Zrang's teamwork ability by an amount for each champion adjacent to the kobolds. Now, this isn't a flat number. That means this is affected by an item. It's this slot 4 item. The epic is Rainbow Eggs. It has a cap. You want to cap it. You want to. And then that number gets multiplied against itself. Or no, it stacks additively. That's right. It stacks additively based off the number of adjacent champions. So you in this formation, you could only ever have 2. But when you stack it, you get a bigger effect. It's the 290%, but if we come over here, that's now by 2 of them, we got 580% buff, which means that the effect is now 272%. Like, it's just, look, it gets bigger. Because the higher the percent, the more credit you get, so the quicker you can move through an area. With multiple champions like this that give extra credit, you can get down to 1 kill counting for like all of the quest crop progress. This is a really strong speed effect. This makes Human one of like the 2 best speed champions in the game. Okay, spec choices. Did we say humans? We meant, and then lawman, and then hello, fellow mercenaries. So, this all affects what hello, fellow humans credits you for. Now, hello, fellow humans starts as human, and Human is always human. This doesn't change what Human counts as. A lot of people misunderstood that when they first came out. So instead of humans, did we say humans? We meant this ability now uses the most populous species in your formation instead of humans. Okay, that's a big deal, right? Because remember, if you can get 8 or more, that's a huge buff. And if it's something other than humans, you would want this, right? Now, lawman counts, instead of humans, it counts the number of lawful champions. So if you instead want to ignore species and just go like you got all lawful champions, yay. Mercenaries means unaffiliated champion. So this is one of those where you pick the biggest number again. You're just looking for the biggest number to get the biggest buff. This doesn't affect the speed buff at all. This is the other buffs. Okay. So it's really only going to matter when you get to the point where you move them out of the speed area. All right. Thank you for the hydrate reminder, Shevik. All right. Impressive coat work. The effect of all teamwork abilities are doubled. You just get that as a freebie. Please stand by. So this is, because remember, there's for teamwork, there's always 2 kobolds that aren't doing anything. Right? Please stand by lets them do something. The 2 kobolds that are not on top provide lesser buffs passively. These abilities are not buffed by hello, fellow humans. So if Zrang is not on top, boss enemies move slower. Okay. If Cleave is not on top, hits-based enemies have a 50% chance of spawning with 25% of their hits already gone. So it just makes it even faster to chew through them. If Yas is not on top, it reduces the base attack cooldown of champions adjacent to the kobolds by a half a second. So there's other effects that you can get, not just the teamwork one. And some of these are important if you're trying to choose through enemies, like armored enemies. You want this plus the other one, right? You want to move back into Yasa range and buff people and chew through the or move Cleave. No, do you only get one or the other? You only get one or the other. Oh no, you could get this one from Yasa range, or you could go. You could get double credit. You got to choose. I don't move them around a lot. I usually just use them for speed. Ultimate attack. Now the ultimate attack also changes based on where they are in the formation. So it's always roll out. the kobolds pepper a random enemy with bolts. Zrang's teamwork is doubled for 30 seconds when they're in the speed thing. So speed effect doubled for 30 seconds if they're in front. If they're in the middle, non-boss enemies are stunned and no additional enemies spawn for 15 seconds. This is the boss killer one because this is the boss killer placement. Now, if they're all the way in the back, they reduce active ultimate cooldowns of all champions in the formation by 25%. So everybody gets their cooldowns back faster, okay, which can be a big deal. All right. Items. Damage all champions, a pair of them. Then we get Hello Fellow Humans. Then Rainbow Eggs. This is the carefully balanced. This is the big one. Then ultimate attack and ultimate cooldown. Itemization. Damage all champions. And then we get a little wild. The path is clear. Increases game speed by 10% when the formation is not under attack. This is a speed effect feat. This is a mini Shandy. This is a mini Shandy feat. It's great. It's absolutely great. Neverwinter Diversity increases the number of other champions counted by Hello Fellow Humans by 3. So if you are within range of a breakpoint, 3 away from a breakpoint, like you have 5 and you want to get to 8, slot this, because that's like a 9,000% buff. Yes, please. Okay. We get Yas's teamwork by 80%. Then we get into generic stuff. Hello, Fellow Humans. Carefully balanced. These are the speed feats. These are the other 2 speed feats, right? Int +1. This qualifies them for Strahd. Immolation. Humans attacks deal an additional 1 second of bud damage every second for 5 seconds. This is an armor chewer. This is another reason they are great for armor shredding, for dealing with armored enemies. The newest feat to hit the game, Misdirection. We've never had a feat like this before. Increases the damage of all champions by 100%. Enemies that attempt to attack this champion will instead attack a different champion if possible. It's that Calyx Negatank effect. It means once you're able to pick up this feat, they can go in the front with a tank, speed through things, and even when you get to the point where enemies are hitting the front line, they're not going to hit Human anymore. Wild. Absolutely wild. We've never had that as a feat. All right, last champion, and then we're going to take a short musical interlude to let my voice rest. Birdsong. Birdsong is Birdstrong. Birdsong is a fantastic champion in this game. They're DPS and support, and they do both really well. Female Tabaxi Bard, lawful neutral, no affiliation. Melee attack, flashing blades. They leap out with a cat's grace and attack the nearest enemies with their sword. So it is an AoE. It is an AoE. Song of Battle. This increases the damage of champions within 2 slots of Birdsong, and it includes her. Calls out that it actually includes her. All right, so within 2 adjacent slots, that's just a straight up buff. She's going to have 2 sets of specializations, and they just focus her on what's going on. This one focuses her on her primary DPS. The next one is going to like be a numbers game. So theme of valor, theme of consideration, theme of deception. What alignment is your DPS? Are they good? Are they neutral? Or are they evil? The numbers don't matter. This is one of theirs where these numbers down here are a lie. This is bait. This is a trap. The numbers don't matter. It doesn't matter. This is where they need the names. They need the names of the champions, so you know which one to pick. If I'm going to go Birdsong DPS, she's neutral. If I'm going Karlach DPS, I got to pick good. If I want to offend DPS in this formation, I pick evil. Okay. It's a Karlach formation. Second set of specialization choices, Unison, Soprano, or Concertino. We will come back to that in a second. I got to explain one of her other abilities before we do that, or it won't make. Chorus of the Lost. This increases Song of Battle by 400% for each positional formation ability affecting Birdsong. So other champions have positionals, Birdsong's receiving them. That comes from a champion who has no affiliation. That's another restriction there, unaffiliated. Birdsong is an unaffiliated buffer in all ways. And it stacks multiplicatively. I really wish Birdsong, I really wish they gave Chorus of Loss the thing that like Valentine and Morduke have where it counts those, but it doesn't. They probably can't determine the difference between a positional that comes from someone who's unaffiliated or not. So you've got to figure this out yourself. But it does stack multiplicatively. It is a like 5x multiplier, so nice. So that's for optimization of a formation. Crescendo. This one interacts with the second spec choices, so this one's important. Increases the effect of Song of Battle by an amount that varies. This is modified by items. No, that's not the right item. If you're gonna freeze on an item, freeze on the one we're talking about. Whenever any champion affected by Song of Battle gets the killing blow on an enemy, so this requires kills. Okay. This effect can stack up to 10 times once for each kill, and it stacks multiplicatively. So this is a pre-stack with a 10 cap. Okay? The mathematically OP ability with a cap of 10. Resets when changing areas. Unless these spec choices are based around Crescendo, and it will let you keep stacks between areas based off the number of people that qualify. So you are looking for the largest number here, because then you get to keep stacks between areas. First one is for lawful champions. Second one is for female champions. Third one is for bard champions. Okay. So if you build it right, you can keep, once you build 10 stacks, you can just keep 10 stacks. Otherwise, you'll have to drop back to a level, kill lots of stuff, move forward. It's called like bud maxing. It's a whole thing. Okay. Impressive blade work. When Birdsong attacks, she makes one bonus attack against a random boss enemy, dealing 5 seconds of bud base damage. So even as a support champion, even if whether she's DPS or support, she gets a hit against the boss, and it's going to do 5 seconds of bud, which is more than what, even if she were DPS at a 4.6 right now, that's more damage than she would do. So, yeah. Armor Shredder. Okay. Armor Shredder. Nothing else, but that's enough. It really is enough. Cat's agility is the ultimate. She leaps from enemy to enemy 5 times, dealing damage and stunning them for 5 seconds. Enemies she attacks during her ultimate take triple damage from all champions for 15 seconds. So this is great for bosses. See? This best case scenario. Item-wise, damage of Birdsong, Crescendo. That's the good one. Damage of all champions, a Song of Battle, ultimate attack damage, ultimate attack cooldown. Okay. Damage of all champions, self-damage. We got a glitch feat, so she can also count as Warforged instead of alongside Tabaxi. And it buffs Song of Battle by 20% per unique species in the formation. You can do straight up Song of Battle. You can do straight up Chorus of the Lost, Crescendo, Constitution +2, Bajra, Strength +1, Zariel. Right? So just qualification for more patrons. All right. That's it. We're going to take a short break. We come back. I will get into the questions. How many questions we got? We got 10 so far. Yeah. None of these champions have a song from Bardic Inspiration. So, break song is Spelljam, and the song for Spelljammer. I'll be right back, folks.
Cruising into the sea of night as my naughty lord's taking flight. Them pirates got me in their sight, oh no. All aboard for a trip to the stars, sailing planner winds on a space card. Space Dragon's treasure's gonna be ours, let's go. Whether you're a gift merchant or gift, everyone is welcome on the skiff. Spelljamming, no planning. Spelljamming, on the ship we're hanging. So much bigger than your hometown. Don't look back as we look to ground. Keep an eye out Watch out for hamsters, both giant and small. Gonna claim your ship as their own space ball. Better run before we get mauled, gotta go. Viking hasn't been or even space go. Everyone is welcome on this boat. Spell jamming, no planning. Spell jamming, on this ship we're hanging. Astral space is nowhere to get lost. Hauling cargo to cover our costs. If you wanna hear the call of a space whale, come join our crew. We're about to set sail. Spell jamming, no planning. Spell jamming, on this ship we're hanging. Spell jamming, prepare for ramming. Spell jamming, come feast or famine. Spell jamming.
And we're back. And we're back. All right. I'm going to dive into the questions. Remember, if you have a question colon in front of your question, like it says down there in the little white box. Demon Frog coming in with, if you have Calyx in your active party, will the background parties get the buff? No. The ability specifically states your active party gets the buff. If Calyx is in the front of any party, your active party gets the buff. So if Calyx is in your active party is getting the buff. But if you put Calyx in a background party, and your active party gets the buff, like that's your active party gets the buff. Doesn't matter which party Calyx is in. So you don't have to have Calyx in your active party to get the buff. But if Calyx is in your active party, that's where the buff is, because it's the active party. Did I say active party enough? Trying to nail home that this is just all about the active party. Vampirely, do Calyx and Turiel infinitely hand off to one another, or is there a limit? They won't do it at all. So Turiel and so this handoff thing that we have, this nega tanking. Turiel was the first champion to do it. Gale has a specialization choice that can do it, and now Humon has a feat that can do it. But if you were to put two of, like if I put Humon in with the feet in and Calyx up here, there's no valid target. So they're both going to get bulldozed. There can't be a handoff because they both have the same ability. So that effect will then cancel each other's effect out, and they'll just get steamrolled. Absolutely steamrolled. You have to have another valid tank up here for that effect to work at all. So you got to have one other tank. If there's two champions in the front line, you got to have one tank. If there were three champions here, you could put Calyx and Turiel, and you still need a tank. If it's only a single champion front line, you don't want that type of tank up there, because then they're not a tank. They're just a support, and they're going to get steamrolled. Scotty Twitcher, when Calyx adds a favorite foe, is it added on, or is the former favorite foe replaced? No, it's just adding another to the list. Just adds another to the list. So here we have Deadliest Prey. Humanoids are Calyx's favorite foe. Let's see if it actually changed. So I'm trying to add Celestials as a favorite foe. Let's see if it shows up. It doesn't show up here. But yeah, we now have it. They're still humanoids are still a favored foe. You just also have celestials now, or if you change it, it's what constructs and oozes, right? So yeah, basically they're trying to flesh out more favored foes because I don't know that everything could be a favored foe yet. This might do it. I don't know. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Forgot to talk about itemization on a champion, but we'll get there. Leonel, sunglasses emoji. Can you explain how the Calyx level 0 upgrade works? I did, but we can do it again. Couldn't make it work using him out of the active party. If he's out of the active party, he has to be in the front. That's the thing. It literally says when Calyx is in the front column of any party. So first things first, Calyx has to be in the front, right? So here's Calyx is in the front. I'm going to switch, and I can tell he's in the front because the ghost is up here at the top left, right? So I'm going to switch to my background party. Let's say this is the one I wanted to be background. I'm going to switch to the party I want to go push in. Okay. Boom, the ghost is there. I have the buff. It doesn't show up anywhere. But if the ghost is here, it's supposed to be buffing your party. So this is what you're looking for. You're looking for the appearance of this ghost. If you're not getting the ghost to show up here when you change parties, you did not put him in the front column. That's it. Any party I make my active party now is going to have the ghost in it because I put him in the front of a party. See? He's right there. Over here. Okay. La vache mauve. There he is. There he is. All right. It's all about that ghost. You just got to trust the ghost because we know this game doesn't show you incoming effects that are just damage all champions. And this is a damage all champions effect, so it doesn't show up anywhere. You just have to trust it. PB&J, you said new players should hang on to time gate pieces during the event. What for? I was talking about what for when I said that. For next week's flex slot and the week after that, these take 3 time gate pieces. Cost is 3 time gate pieces. So you'll need 3 next Wednesday, and you'll need 3 the Wednesday after that. Okay. You know what I want to do? Hold on. I want to flex somebody. Who was I going to flex? I think I was going to flex Birdsong. Right? Oh no, I came up with a list of people I was going to flex and now I've forgotten. Oh no. I don't want to screw this up. I was looking to get... No, Birdsong's got 1,000 item levels, so it wasn't Birdsong. Vi was one I was going to flex. Presto, I think I was going to flex. Is it Vi and Presto, folks? People from my channel. Stream Idle Champions over on my channel, twitch.tv/Gaarawarr, spelled like it sounds. I think I was going for Vi and Presto. Yeah, so I'm going to flex Vi here. So here's how we do event tokens because I wanted to show this off. Oh, I got my weekly offers. Yay. Sure, I'll take free stuff. Thank you. All right, let's go to chests. So I've got Calyx showing up here as an event champion, and now I've got Vi showing up here as an event champion. Talon is a wild offer. Ignore that. But, so if I come over here at the top, you'll see it lets me buy chest packs. 2 silvers and 1 gold for 7,500 tokens. But yes, please. Okay, this is how you get gear for your champions. You'll get those gold chests, and that's great. But when you're gearing up a champion, you want to be able to get them geared up. Basically, if you're new, this is advice for new players. If you're getting as many event tokens as I get, it doesn't matter. But when you're new, you don't have a lot of resources, and the goal is to get to your champion kind of powered up as easily as possible, and that means 5 blues and a purple at minimum. for gearing. So you're going to get these whites for free. The next thing you want to open then is electrums. Why electrums and not like silvers that are for that champion? Because electrums, these silvers are guaranteed to go on that champion. Electrums are not. But when they have low gear, like low rarity of gear or no gear at all, electrums will, the new champion will act like a magnet and will suck any green or better drop to them. See? There's the green. Whereas normally it would be distributed amongst all your champions. Well, I have 145 champions. So the chance for me to get 2 greens in a row on Calyx means there's a magnet sitting under that champion, sucking in greens or blues right now. Whites could go anywhere. I'm kind of hoping we get a white. Yeah, see, a white could go anywhere. But any green or blue is going to go to Calyx. Okay? So by doing this, you're getting Calyx up to green or better gear as quickly and efficiently as possible. And you'll do this with whatever silvers you have. Just open them one at a time until you get them to green or better. If you run out of electrums, then buy a chest pack and only open the silvers. Because once you get them to green, you're going to stop with electrums and or silvers. Is that all? I think we got one left. Oh, we got a blue. Okay. Oh no, there's still 2. Oh, the blue fell on the other thing. So I'm not quite there yet. I want to open a couple more. Right? Now, the reason is this. We're trying to get efficiency out of our chest. So we're trying to use as few chests as possible to get Calyx into a good position. There it is. So all of this. Now that I have green or better gear, got lucky, I got a blue. I'm going to open gold Calyx chests. The reason for that is golds have a rule where they will always give you an upgrade to either green or blue, and they'll always give you a blue. Now, it may sound like, well, then just open them and you always get blues, right? No. They'll only always give blues if we have greens already. You don't want to open a gold chest and get a green out of it when you can get that green out of an electrum or a silver. So get the greens out of the way with your electrums first, and if you don't have enough electrums, then use named silvers by buying some packs. Once they're green or better, now that I only have 5 blues to go, my first 5 golds are going to give me a blue or a purple. There's no way to get a guaranteed purple except the pity timer, but I'll get one in 4 chests. You start off with a pity timer of 4. So blue. That was a pretty card. Blue. And then this one's going to be a purple. Boom. Because that was not a pity timer. And I got a blue. I got both. Dude. I got 1 blue left. All right. Which, yeah, this worked out fantastic. Blue. Okay. Now every one of these golds I open is just going to be a dupe blue or a purple. See, now we're duping stuff. Okay. But that got me to a fully powered, well, not a fully powered, but a powered up, fully functional Calyx. 5, look, blues or better is functional. Epics, yeah, the purples, you're chasing those, but there's no way to guarantee those other than just raw numbers. So when you're new, just getting here, and if you do it this way, you're guaranteed to get all of your champions this way. There you go. Now, it may be a little rougher when you're new because you might not have green or better on all your champions, including your core and your evergreens. It just means you need more electrums, which is from streams like this, or it means you're going to need to spend more of those tokens on packs to get more silvers to use to get to the greens. But once you get enough greens, then just open those golds. Then keep your tokens for the next champion. Try to get all your champions to blue or better first. All these champions are unlocking in the event. And then go back to try to get everybody extra item levels or focus on a champion, right? This was the weekend chest. Get that out of the way. Let me just dump. This was a bunch. This is a huge stack of chests. This comes from bounty contracts. Those event tokens that you're using to buy these packs, they drop over time, 1 every 25 seconds. There's no way to speed that up. It is just 1 every 25 seconds. It's done on a server-side calculation. But you can open all these chests. You can open bounty contracts. God, I totally lost it. You can open bounty contracts that you get out of gold chests, right? So we open a bunch of gold chests. You'll see we get a bunch of bounty contracts when it opens up. Trust me, this may be slow and it may be frustrating, but we used to have to open a single chest at a time. So I would rather it take 10 seconds to open 1,000 than I have to open 1,000 by hand. Here we go. A bunch of bounty contracts. I got 10 of them, right? That's what we want, right? And then when you open those bounty contracts over here, they immediately turn into fire mints. And we want all of those. We want all these event tokens. Because that's going to get us tons of gear during this event, right? Electrums can drop tiny ones. Okay. You want to do that during an event. You want to get lots of tokens. I've got 6.6 million. I'm going to get a lot of gear. I'm going to get a lot. Just late game stuff, folks. Just late game stuff. You'll get there eventually. All right. I think that's not a real question, Jay. It's trolling. All right. Let me see. Franzik, do scavengers like Presto work in background parties or just active parties? They're supposed to work in all parties. Most people will park scavengers in their background parties and get them to work. They're not going to function literally to the right number as it would be if it was in active parties. But because they're in a background party, they're just hanging out and chilling. Just let them do their thing, and you'll earn stuff slowly over time. It'll be fine. Okay. Gonna go back and do the more generic stuff. Crawlo Lucifer Prime. Wow. I feel like David. How long would it take a free-to-play player to unlock all the champions? Can't answer that question. Also, which champions worth spending money to unlock? Can't answer that question either. Here's why I can't answer these questions with an actual answers. There's 145 champions in the game, and while you can unlock them all for free, it's just a function of time spent playing the game, and not everybody plays the same amount, right? Like there's probably a rough estimate. I mean, 5 if you were getting 5 every event, you weren't spending for the DLC slot. And let's say, 1 natural time gate a month. There's 6 a month. Math on stream. Hold on. 6 a month. There's 122 event champions. So 20 months for those. But then you'd get them faster as you started earning more time gate pieces. So, I mean, there's probably a world where maybe a year or less. I don't know. Like, I don't know if anybody that's just raced to try to see how long they could quickly get them all. It's difficult to say. But you don't need all of them. The thing to play the game well, right? So, yeah. I don't know. Then you were asking, what champion is worth spending cash on? The one you like the most? I mean, if you get into the meta, there's a lot of people have different arguments. I argue for certain speed champions, certain champions that are going to help you earn gems faster. So, Eliwick, this is what she normally looks like. Eliwick is I think a great. If I were starting a new account and spending cash, I would buy Eliwick, and and right over here I would buy Diana. Eliwick increases your gem gain, and she has an item for that helps you earn more and more gems. And Diana is a speed champion that speeds up transitions between areas, which is a functional, nice functional speed effect that doesn't need a lot of investment and has some feats for it. But also, and what makes her great for a brand new player, and even better than like a Human or something, in my opinion, when you're brand new, is she also scavenges Electrum chests. And like I just showed, Electrum chests are great. They're going to help you get better gear across your champions. All your champions, right? And she scavenges them. She just picks them up off bosses. I think those two are great early game pickups. Another one, a Human. Another, could be another follow up to that. Or Or if you just want like the speed potion champion, Shandy, basically she functions like a speed potion, right? Doesn't need item investment. I mean, there's all kinds of others you could get. But I think Eliwick and Diana are my two like easy recommendations if people are going to spend cash and they don't have either of those champions. They're great. But there's lots of reasons you might want certain champions, right? Null Persona, what are the best ways to get from familiars other than gems? The best way to get them other than gems is platinum, buying them in the platinum shop, obviously. Cash. You spend cash on platinum, and then you spend the platinum on familiars. Right? And we could sort by cost. Yeah, there's that's not. There we go. Right now, well, these are new ones for some reason they shouldn't be that high. There we go. 840. This is like $6 US. Now, other than that, other than gems and cash, the only other place you can get them is the patron. Each patron has one in their shop. So just progress through. Oh my god, here we go. Progress through, unlock each of the patrons. You can pick one more up in game. That's it. Now remember, if you want to play minimal spend, the most efficient spend, you can collect platinum here every day just by logging in and clicking claim. 10 a day. It would take 84 days to get one of those 840 platinum familiars, right? But if you get the daily boost, you get 20 more platinum every day. You get 700 platinum up front plus 20 more platinum a day for $5. It's the most efficient way to get platinum. That's what I do every month. Yeah, those are the only ways to get familiars currently. Lurking Rider, your question has partially been answered and will be finished to be answered at the end of the show. Moses Crowder, wait, how does Straw and Elminster have 461 variants while the other three have 460? What is happening? They've said no to certain. There's one that they're like, no, we don't think that everybody can do this one, so they've removed it. It may be they could probably go back and add it in now. Who knows? Now that we have champions that can go everywhere, but that's why they used to turn off certain variants for certain patrons, but they've gotten in the habit of just leaving everything on lately. Crawl. I'm just going to say it that way. Which chest should I buy in bulk? The 500 or 50 gems? So regular gold or hold on. This is the shop. So in gems, in the gem shop, which should you buy in bulk? Gold chest or silver chest? How new are you? That's the answer. If you're brand new and your champions, your core champions, so the starting 12 and any evergreens like Hitch or Dritz that you've qualified, if they don't have green or better gear, you open silver chests until they have green or better gear. May sound familiar. I was just talking about this. It's the same way you kind of do event champions, except event champions, you have to use electrums plus their named silvers and their named golds. But the core and evergreens you use with these. Once you have green or better gear on all those champions, you should only ever, in my opinion, be buying gold chests. Because the most you're ever going to get is blue. There's only 3 cards out of a silver chest. You only get 3 cards to turn over. Only one of those cards is going to be an item. There's 5 cards here, and you can have 2 or 3 items out of them. Just way better to do these, right? So if I open one, here's what it looks like. I get one. Oh, there's 2. There can be 2 items here, but they're going to be white through blue. Bad. But it's either 1 or 2, and here it's either 2 or 3. This time it was 2, but you can have up to 3. And the rarity goes all the way up to epic. Plus, there's different consumables in the gold chests, and you want those. Like lots of bounty contracts. SO2 Bloom, as I own Human, but I have not maxed their items. But I also think that Finn really sounds useful. Do you have any recommendations on who to focus on during this? Finn doesn't need gear if you just want to use her for patron stuff. Whereas Human needs the item levels to make the speed go faster. But again, I think you should get everybody to like blue or better, If you're picking up someone new, get them to those 5 blues and a purple at minimum before you try to go all in on someone else. But Human is definitely the more item level hungry. PB&J, when should I stop focusing on buying gold chests and start saving gems for the more expensive stuff? Generally, I say don't bother, but here's the rule of thumb that I've used on a new account recently, last year, and I will do it again on the next new account I do, because it worked out really well. Is I will when I start up my computer for the day, I will look at how many gems I have. 2.07 million. Not helpful. Not helpful at all. Let's say here's what I'll do. So I'll start off my day, and I will just go over and I will spend all my gems. Right? Like if I don't have enough to buy, here's the thing: if you open up and you have enough to buy a familiar, just buy the familiar. If you still have enough to buy another familiar, buy another familiar. But if you don't have enough, that doesn't necessarily mean save them. At the start of your day, spend your gems down to nothing. Told you, just buy gold chests, folks. Forever and ever and ever and ever. That's what this game is. Spend your gems down to nothing. There we go. So I got 258. Now, tomorrow, when I start, I will just play regularly for the day. However, I would normally, a normal day of play. Tomorrow, I will not spend any more gems for this day. Tomorrow, I will look at my total. What did I have? What did I get in a 24-hour period? I will take that number and I will multiply it by 5. So 5 days of normal play. If whatever I want to buy, whether it's a familiar or a feat, like a speed feat, that's what I would focus on first. A familiar or a feat, if I can afford it in that 5 days, and I have a bunch of speed potions stored up so that if I was using speed potions for my normal days of play, then I will go ahead and save up. But if not, I'm going to buy more gold chests and open them. Because the gold chests contain power and potions. And clearing things more quickly with that power is going to earn you gems faster, which will get you to a point where you can do it in that 5 days or less, right? Like yeah, and I use that for anything. So for familiars, definitely for feats. Once familiars are real expensive, I will start picking up, like once familiars pass, it happens pretty quickly, past the cost of like 12,500 speed feats for champion I have, I'll get those speed feats because speed feats are going to get me gems faster, right? And then 50k speed feats are going to get me gems faster. I don't necessarily pick up any other feats early on because those are the really important ones, other than like Eliwick's gem feat. Was a Thayan Enclave thing. I think it's gone now, but it'll be back in the gem shop. It'll be available for gems eventually. But anything that's going to make me earn gems faster, like a speed feat that's going to make me earn gems faster, I invest in that first. And then the more expensive familiars, again, if I can do them within 5 days. By that point, though, you're usually also getting patron familiars and stuff, right? But that usually works because then you're not like hampering your progress, anchoring yourself to this savings thing you're doing for something, especially a familiar. Familiars aren't power. They're quality of life, and they're a wonderful quality of life feature. But they don't make you go. They're not like going to help you push further. The first 5 will make you push faster if they're on the field. But they're not going to make you go further, right? So continue to invest in your champions by opening gold chests. That's going to make you go clear stuff faster and earn gems faster. And then invest those blacksmithing contracts and into speed champions there's all these layers, right? I have guides for this. That's why I make lots of different guides. Plays to win. What stops your champion from leveling at Gaarawarr C2 champion? I hit the cap. So this little circle with a line through it down here, you'll see on these champions that I leveled up. This is the upgrade soft cap. All their upgrades are done. There's no more. I'm trying to drag down. There's nothing there. That's it. Now I have this on the double up arrows. So it's only ever going to go to the upgrade soft cap. If I go to any of the X numbers, it will let me over level. But over leveling, Usually you would, in most cases, you're only going to overlevel your primary DPS. Every level is going to give them like 1% more damage. But, you know, it's not huge until you get tons of gold, right? You can get it up there, but it's not the same as getting an actual upgrade. There are certain champions that buff better based off the levels that are put into stuff. So overleveling might help a champion ability. You just have to read your champions to understand. Most of the time, you just want to jump from upgrade to upgrade. So keeping it on the double up arrow is perfect. And then when you finally get to soft cap, you know, enjoy. Once you finally get to soft cap, favor no longer really helps you progress. That's why the difficulty ratings stop being important after like tier 1. Because once you can soft cap, more favor doesn't mean more further. Right? Super mega foxy hot. Champions have a 4th feat slot. This is true. But it's unreachable because I reach max level. Not true. How do I get the 4th feat slot? I just showed you. Uncap. And over level with favor, and you get 4 feat slots. Yeah. Takes a deep favor run. Once you get to the point where you can soft cap your champions, you're still going to need more favor to go above that cap to their unlock point. And you do it by unlocking and going to whatever level upgrade they need. Now, the next time they didn't they didn't raise the soft cap recently. They raised the area hard cap, but they felt like everything that they'd done with power in the game, they didn't need to raise the soft cap of champions. They didn't need to give them more upgrades. They do this consistently over time. So the next time they raise the soft cap, it'll probably go over that 4th feat slot, and we won't have to worry about that until they decide to add a 5th feat slot. I don't know. We started off with no feats. Back in my day, we had no feats. We couldn't walk anywhere. And then they gave us 2 feat slots, which is why some champions only have like 5 feats. And you're like, 5 feats with 4 feat slots? What the heck? But no, like originally it was 2 feat slots. And then they're like, we're going to give you 4 feat slots now. And then it was like, oh, you got to give us a lot more feats. They've done that with some champions, not all. The Zoldan. Every rule in this game seems to have at least one champion ability or feat that contradicts the rule. Well, that's why been saying this for years, the only hard, fast rule, 100% true rule in Idle Champions, is there's an exception to every rule. So we have a lot of, rules of thumb. We have a lot of rules of thumb for this game. These are the rules of thumb. Like, this is the basic rule, but there's an exception to every one of them. Every one of them. The Cycle Shorts. I'm a relatively new player getting stuck on Calyx's secondary sources, tier 2. You're a relatively new player. The fact that you're in tier 2 is a good thing. Well done. But tier 1 is meant for new players. What should I focus on to get past it? Stop doing it. Go do other stuff. You've got another couple weeks where you can earn power. And maybe by the end of the event, maybe in the 3rd week of the event, you'll be able to go back and do it and complete it. You just need more power. You don't have the power yet. And just sitting in it isn't going to do anything. To farm a missing merchant's free play for favor, chests, and gems. I mean, you don't need to go farm free plays for it. Now, I don't know what favor you have, but if you can do a deep favor run and get a lot more, great. But you might want to wait a week. Just go do either do another champion's unlock. You have a flex champion. Do their stuff. Go out into regular campaigns. Whatever. You just need to make more overall account progress. And come back and hit it again later. Doesn't all have to be done on day 1. Especially if you're newer, you're just not going to get it all done like right away. Not going to get it all done right away. Wow. I finished all my questions. I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. To be fair, we didn't have a ton of questions today. But so yeah, we got a few minutes left. If you have another question, folks. Keep using the word further. Is this the correct word? Not in this game. It's not farther or further. It's forther. Forther. And that is a deep cut joke. Yeah. Farther for measurable countable distance. Further for unknown conceptual distances. And further is for talking about idle champion. That is a deep cut joke. That doesn't make any sense to any new people. I think I went hunting for the Idle Champions ad that was in, featuring Benwin and Crowy, and I don't think I could find it. But yeah. Hakachuk. Oh, I saw this asked, and maybe it didn't have the question colon earlier. What champs other than Nahara add others to patron stuff? I don't keep that off on my in my head as a memorized thing. But a champion that can bring other champions with them to do something, I call a party bus. Right? You go on a party, you get the bus, throw everybody in the bus, and let's go. Nahara can bring the Black Dice Society into patron Strahd stuff. Wolfgar can bring the Companions of the Hall into Icewind Dale. Well, Wolfgar goes everywhere in Icewind Dale, and then he can bring the Companions of the Hall wherever he goes. Mehen can bring his daughters anywhere with them. So there are some champions that can bring other people along. I call them a party bus. I don't have a list of those yet. So on my to-do list is to make a guide of all the party bus champions and all the party crashers. So a party crasher is somewhere that goes anywhere, even when they're not invited. Right? So like the Dark Urge can go in anywhere. Can go anywhere. Dungeon Master can go anywhere. Gale can go anywhere in Elminster stuff, right? These are Karlach goes anywhere in Zariel stuff. They're all party crashers. Laylocan, have you shown how to max Unorthodox Alliance? I didn't think I needed to demonstrate that, so I didn't. You need to demonstrate that? I thought it was just a basic explanation. Unorthodox Alliance gets stacks for each champion in the formation that's not a standard species. So you can't have anyone that's one of these listed species. So how many stacks does he have currently? We have 3 stacks. So we get rid of the ones that aren't counting. Does she count? One of these doesn't count. We don't have a filter for this currently. Tiefling, she doesn't count. So these 3 currently count. I know we can do kobolds. So if I throw some kobolds in, I know that'd be fine. I mean, there's going to be different. You got to figure out how you want to do this yourself. Like Blue Sheets as a bullywug is probably non-standard. Commodore Crux as a GIF is going to be non-standard. So are we up to like 6? There's 7. Portals don't count. Plasmoids don't count. So those are all going to be good for us. And like a Harengon's going to be. So now I've got 10. Now this isn't the cap though. This isn't max. Again, max I think would be like 19 if you could do it, but I don't even know if you can do it. If you could triple, like we have 3 right now, we have 3 kobolds. If we could get 3 of each of the others, we could get to 19. You can't get to I don't think that's possible, Layla. I mean, yeah, hypothetically 20 is the max, but I'm trying to talk about like what's possible in the game right now. I don't think we have. To 20 would be 10 Thrycreen. We only have 1. So it's not possible. I think we might be able to get to 19. How do you get 10 Thrycreen? Oh, 1 of each. Interesting. Yeah, that'd do it. Okay, so hold on. Let's get rid of these. Now we'd be at 8. Okay, yeah, that'd do it too. I was thinking about it right. See, this is a brand new champion. I got to wrap my head around a brand new champion. Okay. One of each. Now what are we at? 16? 16. Okay. Nerds. That's non-standard, right? Yes. I don't know that this is a functional. I don't know how functional this becomes, though. I mean, do we want to switch? Almost went, well, we got to put the duck in. But no, it would be, yeah, sadder. So then we could go there. What are we at? There's 20. There's 20. I don't know how functional that is. I don't know how functional that is. So, I mean, yeah, there you go. 20. You'd want, I don't know that this is a functional formation at all. But, yeah. There you go. But this is more, this is more of an advanced thing. My tutorial shows are about introduction. Leonel, what is your opinion on Artemis for pushing parties? I don't use Artemis. I don't recommend them for new players or even mid-game players. I have strongly held mathematical, functional-based beliefs on them being a late game and beyond champion. I don't think they really come online until you have 1,000 average item levels on them and hundreds of average item levels on their support champions. So I can't get behind them for new players, early game, or even mid game, unless you're spending a lot of cash, right? But they have the highest potential damage. But all of that potential relies on them having thousands of items. I'm going to try to answer these last two and then we're out of here because I'm already behind. Balls, as of now, I have 112,000 firemen. So it shows Carlox as my flex slot. Should I invest all into Carlock? No! You should do what I said and spread things out first. I just don't find Calyx that strong, but I haven't played around with them much yet. Or do I wait for future flex slots? You want to just wait. You don't need to spend everything at once. Get Calyx and Carlock to 5 blues and an epic, like I described, and then do that with the other flex champions, and then at the end decide where do you want them all to go. I would still, if you end up flexing Human's still better to go with. But yeah, no, don't. I love Carlock. Don't get me wrong, but I did a new player account with Carlock, and even with minimal item levels. With 5 blues and a purple, she was wrecking face. So get everybody to a functional place. Mycroft, if 2 champions have a favorite enemy that buffs the entire party, do they add or just the larger amount counts? No, they're all multiple. They don't even add. They're separate multipliers. So if you've got Calyx who buffs based off favorite enemies or for humanoids, and then you bring in Minsk and do humanoids, they're 2 different multipliers. They both count. All right. That's it, folks. Thank you for asking questions. Thank you to Jay for grabbing all the questions. I am out of here. This is the last stream for the week on this channel, though. It streams on this channel. We'll be back Tuesday. Yeah, you're fine, balls. You can click on my name there in chat to come over to my channel, twitch.tv/Gaarawarr, where I stream Idle Champions on Mondays and Wednesdays. But then I stream other games, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Right now, we're playing through some Dragon Age, the Veil Guard. And I'm loving it. It's fantastic. So come hang out with us. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. The song we're going out on, because it's February and Valentine's Day is next week, like the day before the tutorial show. So I got to get this out of the way now. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Bye.
Life of the party, torn from the grave. She never follows, she won't behave. Tentacles and pearls, she tear apart you.